the Coastal GasLink pipeline. Oh la la. Under the cover of COVID-19, the federal government will be giving TC Energy, the company behind the Coastal GasLink pipeline, up to $500 million to help finance the mega project. Meanwhile, the pipeline's construction is well underway, despite the fact that the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs are still adamantly opposed to the project.
Rewind just a couple months ago, and all anyone could talk about were the railroad blockades and parliamentary occupations popping up all over the country in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en Nation. Wet'suwet'en land and water defenders have been opposing the construction of the Coastal GasLink pipeline on their unceded territory when they faced heavy intimidation by the RCMP, who eventually would raid their camps and make numerous arrests.
The international support and mobilization for the Wet'suwet'en Nation led to provincial and federal governments agreeing to hold discussions with hereditary chiefs. Since then, it's been made clear that some sort of agreement on land title and governance has been reached between the parties. However, the details are not clear yet, and the agreement still does not address the controversial CGL project, which has been at the center of this whole dispute.
Although Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs maintain their opposition to the project, the construction of the pipeline has continued undeterred with the support of the BC and federal government. The Gudendin clan, one of the 5 clans of the Wet'suwet'en Nation, announced on April 27th that the CGL continues to trespass on Wet'suwet'en territory in direct violation of the eviction order enforced by the hereditary chief on January 4th, 2020.
In addition, the continued close-by presence and activity of pipeline workers and police worries the Wet'suwet'en people. They are especially afraid for their elders who, if sick, risk losing the knowledge and culture that they hold. There are currently several active man camps for workers along the pipeline route, which risk putting already vulnerable Indigenous communities at even further risk.
While the rest of us are told to stay at home and limit ourselves to essential activities, non-essential pipelines are under construction. Coastal GasLink is not the only pipeline being built during the pandemic. There are thousands of construction workers erecting the highly disputed Transmoutain pipeline expansion as well.
Canadian federal and provincial government have simply forgotten the strong public reaction to these unacceptable projects. They not only put Indigenous lives and land at risk, but as we face a climate crisis by pumping up the fossil fuel industry, this project put all our lives at risk.
Now, not only have they turned a blind eye to this madness, but they've poured millions of dollars into these projects that go directly against their promises of honoring relationships with Indigenous peoples and fighting climate change. Once again, the fossil fuel industry is being put above climate change and the right to Indigenous sovereignty.